Australian musician, is thrilled today to be here with Wolf, also known as Mo. Mo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Greg?
I'm not too bad. We're talking to you because you have a new album out, a debut album, Along Came a Wolf.
Yeah.
What was it like creating an album in a pandemic year? Did that make things easier or harder?
Um, it wasn't much different. It was just the fact that I was creating an album in of itself was really the hardest thing. I it was something new, and I never thought I would be creating an album one day. And yeah, the pandemic just sort of made traffic a bit less busy. It it focused me on taking priorities. Music becomes really easy to focus on when a lot of other things, you're unable to do them. Plus, with living in Perth, the pandemic has hit it not as much as the rest of Australia, and so I didn't notice much of a difference. It was still the same nerve-wracking experience, but it helped me focus more on what I wanted to do at the end of the year.
Yeah. Um, Before we get into the album,
Mhm.
I wanted to talk about your backstory, which is quite interesting. Um,
Mm,
Growing up in Libya,
yeah.
what are your earliest memories of music?
Huh. So I was always fond with one Libyan musician. He passed away about a couple of years ago. He's like very known, and I'm trying to sample his music actually to use for my upcoming projects, just to like see if I can use it there. But when it comes to Western music though, um, it was always okay. This is actually quite personal, but it was always I started out listening to old records. I know that wasn't old back then, but they're awesome records by Akon. I don't know how I got into it. I just started listening to a lot of them, and I was a kid, about like 6, 7 years old, and I really enjoyed that. Then like I went through my hip hop phase with 50 Cent, introduced to Eminem then, but I hit my musical stride in terms of expanding my knowledge. Actually, about 5 years ago. Like it was then when I actually started to go into the history of music, whether it was hip hop, and then it got attached to the blues as well, a bit of jazz. I was very taken by Keith Richards' story and the Rolling Stones. Um, one of my favorite stories is how they met Muddy Waters in I believe, is it the Chess recording
Yep.
studio in Chicago. He was painting and I didn't know it was Muddy Waters, and the tour guide was like, "Oh yeah, this is Muddy Waters right here," and Keith, Muddy being like Keith's like biggest idol, he was flabbergasted. This is Muddy just painting the wall. In Libya, I wasn't exposed as much as I would be and as much as I am right now after I left Libya,
Yeah.
you have
So
to say.
how did you come to arrive in Perth?
The 2011, 2010 civil war that happened, I we first went to Tunisia for a year. I pretty much like stayed the entirety of the war. It was almost a year-long war. Uh, 3 months before Gaddafi was deposed and he was shot, um, 3 weeks, sorry, I was actually in Sirt. I'm from Sirt, the same place Gaddafi was born at, and I was there 3 weeks in the outskirts, in the desert, where it was giving out speeches throughout the radio, and still like you'd hear faintly. I remember one of the stories, one of the most horrific moments of that time was one of the sons went to a house that's right next to us, and apparently they were just handing out food to the soldiers that were still there in Sirt, and not even 30 minutes later, apparently NATO spotted them. I think he used a sat phone or something and bombed the house. And they were like literally like our neighbor's house. And so I was like about 500 meters away in a friend's sort of home, and I saw the missile just like hit where my family is like living. When I say my family, I mean my extended family, like my siblings and my relatives, aunts and aunties. And all I remember is just like everything goes black, and I just sprint all the way there. And I saw cars backed up way deeper into the desert, and yeah, it was our neighbor's house, and that is one of the that's my second worst feeling that I ever had, because you get that feeling of relief that, oh my God, my family is safe. But then you see the cries of the neighbor's house because they lost two sons and a father, and you don't know how to feel about yourself then, right? So yeah, that was that. Moved to Tunisia afterwards for a year, 2012, and then 2012 to 2016 we lived in Malaysia for about 4 to 5 years, and then we moved to Australia. I've been living here. I hit my fifth year this January.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in music in Perth, and were there people that helped you out? Did you have mentors?
I did. KG Host. He's an old, well, not old, but he's a legend in the industry. I don't know how I got into it. Like one day I just well, I know this the story. The story goes that the night before, this DJ was playing doing her set in Fremantle, and and she came to the shop I work in. We started talking, and she said, "Oh, I'm doing this set," and so I saw her set, and afterwards I started talking to her because I was trying to tell her that I've been thinking about getting into the music industry, and she introduced me to a manager of sorts, and then after that I was like, maybe I should take it more seriously. The idea in my mind is that the thing or that popped this idea into my mind is seeing her with a manager and being so real. You're always seeing these sort of things on TV, not in real life. So when I saw that, scene in real life, I was like, maybe I could do it myself. So I started looking up everywhere, found this little studio called Galactic Studio, where Ghost worked in, and worked at, and from then on, I just kept visiting from time to time. He give me some tips on what I'm doing wrong, what I gotta focus on, how to count my syllables for every bar, how to ensure I maintain a flow so that you are complementing the instrumentals and not going against them. All these things became really important when I was working on the album, because that's the thing I focused on. Um, yeah, for about a year and a half, we tried recording something, but I was way too much of a beginner. I had so much written, but nothing that was a song. It was just like poetry. It wasn't really something that was cohesively can be put together for people to listen to. And after that, he recommended me to go to Shakedown, and a few months after that, that's when I actually wrote my first song, and that's when I started to actually say, hey, maybe I actually, can do this properly.
Juice out of what I am, juice out of where I stand. Screw mind, put your bad attitude, spotters getting mad. Blues got you holding out, you misuse the any sound. Not confused about how meant to view is not the sound, but you realize that you rise. This time you will find a better time for what's inside to come to life. So your mind, keep the roll, be the wolf. Noble ones, cause they don't kill the soul. Fuck them all, they roll guns, fuck them all. And there ain't no different meaning that
So tell me about Sam from Shakedown and what he brings to the project.
Ankh, he's we just connected immediately. He's like, I think he was the opposite of Ghost. So Ghost was more, I would be almost like a guiding spirit, if I could say, could describe it in a way. Um, Always smiling, always happy, and always got something that wouldn't be so forceful in terms of his advice. Like he wouldn't say, "This is what you're doing wrong, and that's how you should. That's the right way." He would say, think about this, right? Think something was wrong around that area, something is right about this area, and he would let me find about it by myself. But with Sam, Sam is just Sam. Sam is like he's an engineer. He's like a computer. You could basically ask Sam to do something, and he would figure out a way to do it. And when I started working with Unc, he just made it. He elevated a lot of the nervousness because he could say, hey, I can, yeah, let's try it. Let's see how that would work. And he would just like let me experiment and try different sounds and different things. And me being able to do that elevates a lot of. I hate not being the person that doesn't know what he's doing, and that's definitely what I was. And when I went to Sam, he just said, "Okay, try that. Just to see how it would sound." And then he would say, "What's wrong with it?" Like, "Oh, this is off key," or "This is the mixing is too loud for this one. That's why I see you don't like it." Or maybe the delays on your vocals in here they're not done right. That's why it's off. So unlike Ghost, he wouldn't give me a general idea. He would tell me what's wrong, and then I can I can try a different approach.
Yeah.
And that made the whole process much easier. It made it much longer, but much easier personally for me because I could learn what I was doing wrong, technically wise.
Yeah. Sam contributes piano and synth to the album.
Yeah.
And
he's
you
continue.
I was going to say he's a very soulful player. Does that make it easier to rap over when there's so much vibe and feel in the background?
Oh no, that I've always liked to rap over soulful beats. I have a track coming out on the 31st actually. That it's sampled from a spiritual, an old spiritual. So so the first beat for the track Welcome Party, that was an original beat by Uncool Sam called Playground. And I took that beat because of the bass line that he had. He had a double up jazz bass line, tune, 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 tune. So he looped that around, and I like that. But then I just completely reworked it. Oh yeah, by the way, throughout this year, in order to cut cost, I had to learn how to make beats. So I started making my own beats.
Yeah.
So Welcome Party, What Do You Find? Those two I composed. Well, the Welcome Party, I reproduced the beat myself, so I changed a lot of the sounds in there, added new samples to them. What Do You Find? Other than the piano, everything else I produced.
Yeah.
And I pushed Sam to make that soulful thing, and he can definitely make a track sound soulful.
Yeah. So what are the tools that you use in creating your music and your beats?
As in what workspaces or what applications?
Yeah.
I use Reaper.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sam was the one who recommended me that I use Reaper, as it is very, very friendly to independent artists and small artists. They have different licenses both for professional workspaces and for individual or independent workspaces, and you don't lose any benefits or features in terms of both versions. It's just that the professional one would support multiple users, and the individual one is an individual license, and it's much cheaper, and you still get to use the same amount of plugins, the same amount of tools that Reaper provides, and for a much cheaper price.
Yeah. Is there a track on the album that is closer to your heart than others?
Two of them. They're all close. They're all close to my heart. Definitely. This album is a personal one. It's introducing myself to the listener. But two of them, it would be What Do You Find and Killing Monsters.
Yeah.
Those two are very important. Yeah.
Killing Monsters, you refer to yourself as an overthinker.
Yeah.
Tell me about the song, and are you getting better with the overthinking?
No, I don't want to get better with the overthinking. I want to let it be there. It's good for the music. That specific beat pissed Sam off to no extent. It's it that was the first. Okay, that was the track that uh pretty much defined me as an artist and my workspace. Like it let Sam know how to approach me when I'm on the studio, right? Um, because I came to him. So the original sample, the original track was from a video game soundtrack, one of my favorite video games, and I don't shy away from the fact that I love video games. It's something that helped me cope with a lot of things, a lot of bad things, um, in the past. Just having these fantasy worlds, like reading a book or watching a movie, having a fantasy world to escape in from time to time is sort of nice. And one of them is The Witcher, which actually I'm reading the books right now. I love the video game so much, I started reading the books too. Um, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, it had a soundtrack, a very long, a very varied soundtrack. And one of them it was called The Vagabond. And I loved the mandolin in there. Pow, 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 pow. I just loved how it played through. Um, it was a 3/4 progression, as Sam told me. I had to learn that from him. And hip hop tracks are usually 4/4 progressions, and so we had to adjust for that. And we made about 3 different beats before we got to the one that we liked. First one was more of I wanted to have it. I wanted the track to be more chilled out, sort of taking Scandinavian sounds like mandolins and violins and all these sounds, um, and put them and try to make them into a jazz track. And we actually accomplished that. It was just too soft for my liking. And then the second one was like too cinematic and too epic for my liking. And then we came to the last one, and it was just a combination of both. It was something that felt slow, but can get you pumped up at the same time. It's something that you can listen to and hear the words, or listen to when doing a workout or when walking down the street. And it's yeah, that it pissed Sam off because that was at my peak overthinking. I remember I would sit back in the studio, and I would just like be in the couch, and he'd be in the computer, and he would just be working, hitting the notes on the piano, try to see how it sounds after recording, and then I'd be like, no, that's not it. And it sounded like, man, okay, fine. And he keeps going on the piano, and then he keeps looking at the thing, and he looks at me like, no, that's not it. I don't, no, I don't feel it in here. I need something. And then the last time he just did the same sort of progression, almost exactly identical to the original with the mandolin, right? And I remember I was on my phone, and then he didn't see that, but I looked up like that, and I just kept looking at it. I was like, because I knew that was it, that was the sound that I was looking for.
Evil is evil. Lesser, greater, middling. Makes no difference. The degree is arbitrary. The definition is blurred. If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all. Got demons gonna kill him all. I'm a witcher, killing monsters, gonna kill him all. Overthinking, I got demons gonna kill him all. I'm a witcher, overthinking, killing monsters, I got demons.
The final track, Give It Up, is a wonderful way to end the album. Not only does it have a great groove and vibe, but it tells the album's story, and you thank the people involved. The concept works really well. Where did you come up with that idea to do that?
J. Cole. I can say without any second thought in my mind. J. Cole, one of my favorite albums even though I can confidently say, because of Drop the World by Lil Wayne featuring Eminem, Eminem is my favorite artist. It's someone I look up to. It's not very hard to not discern that from how I am on my when I jump on the mic. But Cole, when he did 2014 Hill Forest Drive, that album was, especially speaking about the pandemic toward 2020, that was the album that I listened to for the majority of the time. From the intro to the end, that was a journey. And when I heard the what's it called, the Curtain Calls track, the last track he had, the encore, I think, where he just basically thanked a lot of people and whatnot. I was like, I'm gonna do that at some point in my life. I'm gonna do it. And with 2020, how it happened, and how many people were involved, how many people I've got to meet because of what I've done, because me deciding to do music, I just could not thank them, you know. And actually, they haven't thanked enough people. I feel like there's more people that I've met, or old friends that have heard me rap very nervously. I got a natural stutter. I can't help it, especially when I'm nervous. It comes out really strong. Um, so they've heard me rap very nervously and go off beat so many times that they still supported me. I said there's something there, and I feel bad for not thanking them. I didn't thank Hannah. Hannah was a girl that I met while I was working in the shop, um, who just came out of nowhere. She just had like paint, like white paint on her fingers. She looked like she was doing construction. So I asked her, like, either you're doing construction or you're an artist, you're a painter. And she laughed and said, "No, I'm a painter. I paint." Because she had like she didn't have regular, you know, paint on her fingers. She had construction paint, like with the chips of wall and whatnot, of cement and whatnot. And then yeah, she said I'm an artist, and she works with these sort of approach and styles. She works with sort of concrete painting. I don't know what's the right term. Somebody told me the right term, but I forgot. Um, so basically, like, uses gravel and uses um, concrete walls to like make her paintings, or do her art, and it just struck me. And then I saw one of her paintings, and it said, "Then anger was slumbered for a while." And I said, "That's the one." And she just said, "You can have it for free." I don't need, like, she presents her paintings in like shows and whatnot, and she gave me that for free. And that was such an amazing thing, because that last month I was looking for somebody to do an album cover art, and I was trying to find. I didn't want the cover art to be from some, Instagram account that hit me up and be like, "Yo, I can do, album cover arts for like $50. Just pay me and I'll do it for you." I didn't want it to be something so meaningless. I wanted something to be meaningful from someone that meant a lot, or at least somebody who really cared about what he was doing. Um, and she just like popped in a month before, the album was supposed to come out, and I found my album cover. So yeah, that's somebody I actually forgot to thank on the spot, and I regretted it. Yeah, it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah. So going forward, are you looking to perform this album live?
Yeah, definitely. I'm practicing for it. I'm preparing my songs for live, seeing how to perform them the right way. I don't want to perform me running out of breath or something. Um, uh, so I'm definitely planning on doing that. I'm a one-man machine, so I'm trying to sort of understand how to book shows, or how to open up for people, to see um, how I can do that. I'm still figuring things out as I'm going along.
Well, Along Came a Wolf is an impressive album. You should be proud of
Thank
it.
you.
And
Thank you.
we look forward to seeing what's next in your journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that.